It's everything I want, waves, warm water, cool people having a good time. So like, why don't I just live down there? The question of what would you do if you're a billionaire with every single minute of your day?
Mm.
And my answer to that question was that's kind of the goal, is to make a healthier social media. I like flexing discipline muscles every once in a while. And then I was like, bah, I'm just gonna go run a marathon barefoot. I go to Puerto Escondido and I'm scared every morning to go try to get barreled. But then you come back and you have the biggest smile on your face. You feel like a champion. So in life, like I kind of use that fear. Like if I'm a little bit afraid of that, that's something I gotta go towards as like a compass. I was out in Greece on a billionaire from Dubai's yacht. Random story. But I realized like she doesn't trust you if you do that. Like if you really put this mission above all else, like she'll want you more.
All right, we are live today with another episode of the podcast. I'm joined today by Paul Keating, coming all the way live from Costa Rica. So we are going international with the pod once again, and super stoked to have Paul on. How's everything going over there, man?
Good. Check out my view. Where are you at? I don't know if this is just audio, but for you, Danny, we're right on the beach side.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
Coven. Yes, it's a
Uh,
little hot. I don't know why I'm clothed, but whatever.
yeah, usually minimally clothed, right, in Costa Rica,
Y-
I would imagine.
yes. It's funny. The only place that I have to wear a shirt is at the gym, ironically.
Oh, damn.
I always
Okay.
give them a ton of crap for that, but whatever. Where are
They
you at?
they I'm in San Diego, man.
Oh,
Living
nice.
in La Jolla, UTC area.
I was born in La Jolla.
No way.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Okay.
Yeah. And then raised in Oceanside.
Gotcha. Okay,
Yeah.
sweet. So yeah, you're super familiar with the area. That's
Oh,
great.
yeah.
Nice. So I gotta ask, man, first off, how did you end up in Costa Rica and what is the life like out there?
Well, I got a little bit bored. And I had previously been to Costa Rica, Nicaragua, El Salvador, like on vacations. And I was like, I have more fun living down there. So why don't I just have so much fun down there? Like, so back in 2021, late 2021, end of, towards the latter half of COVID, I just I got done with making a little bit of money and I made a GoFundMe to go drive to Nicaragua. Um, to deliver baseball gear to all the kids in Nicaragua and just random people, because I'd been down there a couple times. I played baseball in college. It's like my first sport, and I love surfing. And Nicaragua was perfect because I got good beach break waves, offshore wind, and the whole country's obsessed with baseball. So I'm like, all right, guys, I want to go back there. I want to film. I want to drive down there, get as much baseball gear to everybody down there as possible. So that was the mission. It was a
Mm.
successful mission. Drove down there with my old 1985 car. And then, to be honest, coming to Costa Rica was just like, I was chasing a chick.
Sometimes that's how the best
And
stories happen, man.
yeah, man, I was chasing a chick, and luckily it didn't work out with that one. So I came back to where I'm at now, Santa Teresa, and
Mm.
ended up finding the better chick who's now my wife.
Oh,
And
sweet.
but when I was coming down here, I was reading a lot of books, listening to audiobooks, podcasts, and one thing really stood out in my journey, and I really like meditated on this and thought about this a lot. The question of what would you do if you're a billionaire with every single minute of your day?
Mm.
And my answer to that question was surf warm waterways with cool people and work on something important with my friends. It's that simple. Like, and so with that in my mind, I ended up constructing a life that I think is important. And I'm working on, yeah, stuff that's important with friends, and then surfing every morning. And that's important to me. So,
That sounds amazing. Sounds like a pretty ideal routine you got going out there.
yeah, but people say you're lucky. Nah, dude, I forced it. I was camping. I was broke. I was like, kind of like a bum, but I knew what I
Hmm.
wanted.
Yeah. So do you not believe in luck in general or like the concept of
No,
luck?
I totally do, but it's like that's the other thing in my mind is do what will give you the most luck. So like, whenever there's that question of going out or sitting inside, like you go out. Or to go talk to that person, you go talk to them. I happen to be surrounded in a pretty cool like people around here, so I was like, huh, I'm gonna stay down here and stay in these circles, and that gives you more luck.
Mm.
Um, so whatever it is, get more luck.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
But you
kind
can
of like,
force it, man. You can yeah, definitely
yeah.
force it a little bit.
Yeah, a bit like I guess the saying is like where, luck is kind of where opportunity and preparation meet. You do all the
Hmm.
things to put yourself in those positions And then obviously some things you can't predict and that are just straight up good fortune. But if you're not
Yeah,
ready to see them or like act on them, then they're just going to pass you by and you won't get lucky, right?
exactly. And I feel like part of that is being able to like to really see it and feel it, like what you even want. Like if you didn't know what you want, you might just be blind to the luck that could be passing by you at all times, you know?
Hmm.
So being able to like
True.
kind of visualize that and know what you want is kind of important, I think.
Gotcha. Yeah, 100% agreed. So do you have a big project? You said working on something important,
Yeah,
and as I was diving into your work, I want to just touch on what it sounds like is the big project right now, which was Noster, right?
yeah.
Is this what would you call your big project right now?
Yes, I'm obsessed. But yeah, before that, I was working with Saladino. And that was like, yeah, made a friend with him, and he's the guy that's like led basically all the anti-propaganda against seed oils.
Mm,
And so that's what I was doing at first. And then yeah, then I luck or then just started to work on Nostr recently full time, along with
hmm.
Daylight Computer right before that. And now I'm full time with Nostr. And what does that mean? I'm very good at confusing people with Bitcoin, Nostr, all this stuff. Nostr is the protocol upon which an app called Primal is built, and I work for Primal full time. And so Nostr is a way to do social media on the web that's not owned by one person. Okay. It's a set of rules. Just like Bitcoin is a set of rules for money, Nostr is a set of rules for speech. And nobody can change these rules. They can just add to them and make them better. So we're upon on top of Nostr, we built Primal, which looks a lot like Twitter. And it's a way to communicate with other people on the web, but it gives you sovereignty. You own your identity um, and your content. And unlike normal social media now, where you have to ask permission to make an account on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter, and then to post and talk to people, with Nostr, it just like reverses that. It's up to the user to choose what they want. And now,
Mm,
I mean, it kind of sounds complicated, but it happens right away. You hop on Primal, it just kind of feels like a normal social media app, and that's good. So more people will accidentally walk into freedom
mm. I love it,
and
man.
a healthier social media too. That's kind of the goal, is to make a healthier social media. And because right now the incentives with social media are kind of backwards. They're incentivized to, like, you are the product on there. They're incentivized to keep you glued to the screen, to keep you scrolling for as long as possible, um, so that they can sell you more ads. And that's just the only way that we've known how, or that companies have figured out how to make money on social media. And unfortunately, I mean, I think part of social media and screens in general is like really what's making humans unhealthy. While screens like computers and phones are tools, social media is a powerful tool as well. And like my vision for the future is to make, yeah, Primal a great tool for you to use to connect with people online.
Awesome. So I got to ask, if you guys aren't going the ad approach or, selling data and things like that, how exactly would you fund, on the back end, kind of keep the app running and all that?
Who knows?
Get it figured out?
We're gonna figure it out. We have launched some premium
Hmm.
features and like subscription based stuff, and it's
Hmm.
actually gone remarkably well. Like right now, there's a lot of ideological people on there, and they're very aligned with our brand. It's amazing, and they're willing to give us money to use our product. Which I mean, if you're not, if the product is free, you are the product, right? But,
Hmm.
anyways, and we think that there are possibly ethically ways to advertise that aren't just shoving things down your throat, and that aren't just stealing all your data and selling it and all that. And
Hmm.
then there's more opportunities that I'll keep shut now too. But
Okay.
we believe there's a way. Like if you have a lot of people interacting with your app, there's ways to monetize it. So, but
Yeah.
we'll figure it out.
Yeah. No, 100%. I think that's needed, man. That's just one of my biggest concerns is how much I need social media to do the podcasting, to network with people, and how much value it's offered me. And just weighing that against like all the drawbacks, the time suck, the inability to, like you're saying, have autonomy over what you're sharing and the content that you're putting out there can be taken down at any moment, right? If someone just puts you on a blacklist and they decide, oh, this person is no longer deemed fit to share their message, like you can just be cut off completely, and which, in turn spirals into your business and all sorts of other things. So I feel like it's totally needed in today's day and age. Like if
It is.
government or nobody else is going to step in to put parameters around it, around healthy use of social media, which they never will, we kind of have to do that on our own.
Yeah, I believe so. And it's just, yeah, the incentives of these companies are so perverse. Like, YouTube, keep like TikTok, just keep the kids on the app the whole time. It's like, oh God, it's not it. But I mean,
Yeah.
it's up to us too as humans to like heal and understand like what we're doing. Like, I think a lot of us are waking up to the unhealthy like habits of our tech use and everything. But like you said, it's an amazing tool. But with
Hmm.
Nostr, you can literally build on solid ground. You build on something that you own. Because right now
Hmm.
you're building in somebody else's land that they can take away from you at any time. That they could
Hmm.
shadow ban you. And
Right.
it shouldn't be that way. Because it's just like one man, no matter how nice they are, how great they shouldn't have all that power. And
Yeah.
it's getting even more interesting because, like, just yesterday, somebody in the World Economic Forum was talking about how they need to link all social media to your ID, to your government given ID, and all this, and to get rid of anonymous accounts and stuff. And it's like, I mean, I get a lot of value out of it in some anonymous accounts as well, but like to give all that information to a select group of people and they have the ability to turn you on and off, it's crazy. It's We're going towards the China WeChat model, the centralized model. Like Elon wants X to be an everything app, and so that means we got to give him all of our data and everything, and then that gives him like way too much power. Just the ability
Hmm.
to turn us on and off. I don't think it should be that way, and I think more people are waking up to that.
Yeah. No, big time, especially where all these companies are based like within a couple mile radius of each other, Silicon
Hmm.
Valley. It's kind of wild to think that they have so much input on things like our elections and things like our, legal system. Like they're able to kind of filter it out, and it's coming from a select few extremely uber powerful, wealthy people in that one area of the country. And it's kind of like, yeah, it makes you wonder, it makes you wonder what kind of slant you're viewing everything through, even though you think, oh, I've done a good job about filtering my algorithm or like only engaging with content that interests me. You still just find random shit that gets thrown at you and you're like, dude, I don't want to see this ever, but yet I'm sucked into it because they literally are
Yeah,
hacking my psychology.
it's the worst. Like, yeah, I mean, what do they say? Like, whoever controls the algorithm controls the world, right? So
Yeah.
get this, Noster basically means hours. I mean, it's just like this poetic thing. It actually stands for notes and other stuff transmitted by relays, which is nerd speak. But in Spanish, like nosotros, that means ours. Even in Italian, it's like nostra, it means ours. So the way I like to see it is Nostr is ours. It's our chance to create social media experiences from the ground up. It's all open source. That means that anybody can contribute to this network, and whenever you make that better, the network better, everybody wins. Like Primal can just implement your algorithm. That's another thing. There's not one single algorithm on Nostr or on Primal. You can choose. And
Mm.
granted, there's not much content on there yet, but in a world where more and more content will filter through Nostr and you having the ability to control your experience on there, it'd be beautiful. Like right now, I hop on TikTok, I see boobs jiggling, and I accidentally lend 2 extra seconds to the screen, and this thing like wants to show me more tits all the time. It's fucked
Yeah.
up, to be honest. Like it's terrible, and you can't unsee that, especially when you spend more time on Nostr, which is just more like organic communication on the web and like actually relationship building instead of just this game of how do I get more eyes and attention. It's yeah,
Hmm.
you can really start to feel it and see it and realize how messed up that world kind of is, unfortunately. And I don't necessarily think that these are evil people. Like I don't think Zuck's an evil person. Jack Dorsey, he uses Nostr now. He made Twitter. I don't think he's an evil person for kicking off Trump from his platform. It's just the decision that had to be made at that time. Like, and it's unfortunate that he has the power to have that decision. And that big tech, that Zuck has to now decide things for the world. Like, oh, so the government's pressuring me to turn off the COVID stuff. So we can't just have the information flowing freely. That's what Nostr does. It frees the information for the world. It doesn't have
Hmm.
gatekeepers. It gets rid of singular points of failure. So the mission is huge, but the only way to scale it, in my opinion, will probably to make it be more fun. So we'll see how we're going to do that. It already is
Right.
fun for me, but I'm biased because all my friends and Bitcoiners are on there.
Gotcha. Just adding some more entertainment value or something in there to get more listeners or viewers.
A little bit of both. Like I think a lot of people will come for the censorship resistant capabilities for the algorithm choice, but um, also just having cool humans on there that people might already be aware of is going to be important to scale it. Something that we haven't even talked about yet are these things called zaps. So this unleashes an entire different way to do social media too, where I can actually pay you directly on social media with Bitcoin. So everybody has a Bitcoin address there over the Lightning Network. So you can just go to anybody's account on there and pay them without permission. Or if they make a post you like, you send Bitcoin to them. Yeah, just
Mm.
yesterday I onboarded a friend and he had no Bitcoin before in his life. And he made a post, put the little hashtag introductions. 35 people without me even reposting it found him and gave him Bitcoin. And then he made another post, 17 more. And then he made another post saying, guys, I didn't have Bitcoin until 10 minutes ago. And he got like 17 more people sending him Bitcoin. So it's like, not only is this like, um, you know, this whole decentralized social media thing, it's like the easiest way for people to get on to Bitcoin and have their and touch it for the first time. So I think it's a beautiful combo.
Yeah, that's awesome that you can just get rewarded for a good post. You don't have to go through
Yeah,
this whole process of being monetized, so to speak. You can just your friends can just be like, "Hey, I liked your post. Good,
exactly.
good job. Here's
Zero
a few
followers.
bucks." Yeah.
Yeah, and like I mean I throw sats around all the time just because well, it's fun, but and everybody does. Like it's really cool. And there's so many potential businesses and ways to do things now that's direct. Like on OnlyFans, they keep like 30% or 40% or something crazy. Bitcoin, nothing. You know,
Yeah.
100%
Okay.
right to you.
Yeah.
And you own the content and nobody can
Hmm.
take it from you. It's amazing.
It's rad. It's a rad idea.
Yeah.
So I'm just curious what triggered your interest in this world. It sounds like maybe, started with Bitcoin and then you discovered Nostr through that. Was there something that you read or something that happened in your life or maybe something in the news that triggered this for you?
Yeah, so actually it was a life circumstance back in 2017 that forced me down the Bitcoin and the health rabbit hole. I was just graduating with my master's degree. I was like, oh, I heard you were thinking about that. Your parents want you to get one. I remember.
Yep.
But
Yep.
anyways, I would not recommend it.
Okay.
I was just finishing up. I was playing ball in school and had to do an extra year for my master's degree. But anyways, I right when I graduated, I was getting ready to take over the world and the universe was like, nope, we're going to give you some sort of autoimmune disease and you're going to be sidelined at mom's house for a month or like 3 months actually. I had like some sort of reactive arthritis. Still don't really know the root cause of what happened, but my both my knees and both my wrists just swelled up. I couldn't walk, and really grateful that I had parents to take care of me. But I was just sitting there and was like, "Well, I'm screwed. What is life if I can't move anymore?" My whole identity was like built on me being like athletic, getting to surf, Billy baseball, all this stuff. So it was a huge like ego death, and but now I'm so grateful for it because I had time to think. Because in school, you don't have time to think. You just have time to serve your professors and whatever they want you to do.
Mhm.
So I had time to think, like, what am I actually interested in? And, I had to make money. So um, grandma gave me a couple bucks for graduating, and it just was, I understood compound interest. So I bought Bitcoin and promised myself I'd never sell it. And so immediately after I got done with school, I'm like almost 100% Bitcoin. And that's definitely tweaked my thoughts and my perspective on the world, and but it forced me to learn about it more and more and more, and it takes years to get to the place where I am now with just like I earn Bitcoin 100%. I don't have any. My bank account's zero. And then but that time also got me to study health a little bit, which is my other passion, and got me thinking about like how to eat, how to move, why I might be feeling this way. And yeah, so that time was extremely precious for me.
Mhm. Yeah, I feel like sometimes it's those external events that really push you into a new chapter or push you to evolve in some way that you never saw coming, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a similar event where I had like a spontaneous collapse in my lung and had surgery, and it was
What?
wild. Yeah, and it was the same thing where like I'm so attached to my identity as an athlete. Like I grew up playing soccer my whole life and running and like being out for 8 weeks, just sitting around twiddling my thumbs and like being forced to think and just stretch, like you said. It's just like it really makes you reevaluate everything. And then you come out of that chapter as a whole new person with just different priorities. And yeah, for better or for worse, you become a new person.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
gnarly. Do you know, wait, why did your lung collapse? Was it during a game or something or?
No, dude, it was it's spontaneous. So it's basically attributed to like tall, lanky males that they
Okay.
grow to like sometimes grow too fast. It's kind of funny, but like your organs, I guess, don't keep up with like the rest of your body stretching, and
Right.
they form, in some of your internal organs in your lungs, you can form these things called blebs, which are like pockets of super soft tissue, and
Hmm.
then under stress or for whatever reason, they can they can collapse. So you basically have like a small puncture in your lung and it starts leaking air out and hurts like a bitch.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
How long ago was that?
That was 2023, January 2023, so 2 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was one of those similarly like paradigm shifting things in my life where a lot of things that I put off where I was like, oh, I'm procrastinating this. I could get to it at some point, like this podcast, for example, like that was kind of the push, to really get me going on that. And that realization of just life being short and, not having too much time to execute on these things. So yeah, it was a good motivator.
Yeah. How long
Yeah.
have you been doing the podcast?
It's been a year and a half now.
Nice, man.
Yeah.
How many episodes have you done?
This is going to be 72.
Let's go. So I remember hearing somebody say like you're in the top 99% of podcasts if you get through 25.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
I've
let's
heard that
freaking
too.
go.
Yeah. Yeah. Going strong, man. Going strong. All
Yes.
right. Yeah. It's like, it's funny how, like, when you launch any sort of project, I feel like you go through chapters where, like, when you first launch it, you're super satisfied for even launching it for a while. Like, for a little bit, you're like, oh, that was great. I finally took that
Yeah.
step. And then you get to kind of a plateau or something where you're like, all right, now I need to really fine tune things to take it to the next level. You start asking yourself, are you serious about it? And
Hmm.
I think that's kind of where I reached recently. Like, I think I'm maybe past that plateau where I'm like starting to really like try and dial in and take it to the next level and see what we can do with it. So it's an exciting
Yeah.
journey.
That's super fun.
Yeah, yeah, it's a good time. So yeah, thanks for the sharing, how you got into it and how you got started on this journey. It's fascinating. And I want to kind of shift and talk about, we talked a little bit about the mental, physical challenges, or actually mostly the physical challenges, but I want to ask you because I saw some of your writing about some of the physical and mental endeavors that you've taken on. You described, doing a do it yourself marathon, or it was an Ironman, and then
Yeah.
also running a marathon with no shoes, with no training.
Nice, dude.
Yeah. So can you
Yes.
talk a little about why you did those things and also like maybe what you got out of them?
Yeah, dude. So I like flexing discipline muscles every once in a while. And also just those things, I mean, they were kind of spontaneous. Like the marathon was hilarious. I was just got done with like breaking up with this girl like in Mexico. And then I was like, it was COVID time and my parents didn't want me to have me at home. And I went to Dallas with a friend. And then I was like, bah, I'm just gonna go run a marathon barefoot, see if I can do it. Cause like there's these things in your head, like, can I do that? Like people that run marathons, those guys are gnarly. And then after I did the marathon somehow barefoot, and then I was like, how do people do Ironmans? Those are insane. You got to run a marathon, swim 2.4 miles, and then bike 100 and something miles. Insane. Do you remember how long the bike is? I don't even remember at this point.
I think it's 100 miles or a little over
Yeah, I
100.
think it's
Yeah.
over 100. No, it's gonna bug me. So yeah, I trained a little bit for the Ironman, but I just went and did it just to like feel that I could know that I could do these things that I think are gnarly. Like, and just this morning or just 2 days ago, I did a 24-hour dry fast. And that was my first time doing a dry fast. I've done like 5-day fasts in the past too, but just to be able to flex these discipline muscles kind of just adds to your, what's the word, self-efficacy, just the belief in yourself that you can do hard things.
Hmm.
And I think just having those little those experiences and the knowledge that you can do and push through hard times and hard things is good for everything. Just makes you feel like a stronger human. Like benefits and health benefits aside, um, of the fasting thing, like, and I did 3 days to start the year this year. It's just, yeah, the maybe a little bit of the discipline equals freedom and the um just the efficacy that comes from all of it. It's good to remind yourself that you're in control of your
Hmm.
little of your body, not the monkey mind, you know?
Yeah.
So
Oh, big time.
I like to flex that kind of stuff every once in a while.
Hmm. Yeah, it's also crazy when you reach those limits and you push past them, like limits that you thought were completely set in stone, whether
Hmm.
it's running 10 miles, 20 miles, or a marathon, and you realize, like, damn, the human body is really, really capable of doing so much more than we tested of, on a daily basis, or like even ever for some people. People don't even come close to those limits, let alone butt up against them and then move past them and set greater limits. So
And then
it's
there's the
wild.
crazy people that keep doing it to themselves, and that I cannot figure out. That I can't figure out. Like the ultra marathoners and the people that do Ironmans for fun, like like get a life, but I don't know. That is her life.
Yeah. Like how do you have that much time to devote to just running, training all the time? I mean, I
Yeah,
ran one in 2021, not the ultra, not the
nice.
ultra, but just the marathon. It was like it occupied so much time getting your miles
Hmm.
in during the week and you're just tired, completely spent. If you want to do
Yeah,
anything like socially, you're just like, nah, I'd rather sleep.
and I'm
So
not convinced it's healthy for you at all, or
I,
convinced,
I don't
you
think
know.
so. Yeah. Especially
Hey,
the
but
ultras.
everybody's got their own mission, you
hmm
know.
hmm Yeah, some people get a lot out of it and it teaches them a lot. I mean, there's some pretty incredible people. I mean, the guy, Alex that I interviewed running across Germany and people that like Ned, what's his name? Ned, forget his last name. But he ran across, I think, Australia, and just running marathons every day for consecutive months is just mind-boggling to me, but hey,
Yes,
more power to you.
it's something to do. Like
Yeah.
I also did this is something that's actually fun and a bit of an endurance mission was I did California on my bike and a little bit of
Okay.
Oregon all the way with a friend and did some camping in between hotels in between. But yeah, rode all of California on a bike. Now that's fun. And
That
that I
sounds
want to do
epic.
again. Will I ever do another Ironman? Well, I don't want to say no, but oh God, that sounds horrible.
Don't count it out, man.
Yeah,
So what was that experience like? Did you train a lot for it, or do you just kind of go in blind like you did with the marathon?
it was pretty blind, man. It was pretty blind. I did a half. I did the run and the bike. No, no, no. The most I trained was like I did the full bike and half a marathon, and then in one day, and then I think the day before that I did the full swim. So I was like, okay, I know I can run a marathon. I know I can do the full bike, and now I know I can do the swim. I could probably put them all together in one day. YOLO.
Yeah. And you did it,
So
man. You
so
crushed
yeah,
it.
I literally had a friend on a stand-up paddleboard up in Newport Beach. I went in the harbor. I kind of cheated because I timed it for low tide when the tide was kind of sucking out. So there's a couple nice currents for me when I was swimming. But then I looked and I had him have Strava on his and I kind of mapped it out before, but also had him going with the Strava, which keeps track of your mileage in the harbor. So I did that swim, and I hopped on the bike from there, just crappy old bike, and I rode all the way down to Oceanside, Carlsbad, on the freeway on the 5 and everything.
Damn.
And yeah, so then I got to the mall in Carlsbad and I did a couple laps in the bike to finish off all the miles. And then I ran around in circles at the mall till like midnight that night. And I had a friend join me for the marathon. At least half of it, he survived. And it was a ridiculous day.
Dude,
I
at
wish
the
I filmed
mall?
more. Like I did, I filmed on the GoPro, but man, what an experience. Yeah, just running
Yeah.
around in circles.
I
Just
know at
like
the mall, I'm just thinking like you could have at least gone to the coast or something or gone up in the hills, man.
I just liked that it was kind of like this big lap, and I think I ran there before. I knew it was like a mile, so I had to do however many around.
Oh, gotcha. Gotcha.
Yeah, and it was flat. That was important. I did not want to mess with any hills
True. Yeah, that's probably
during
a
the
good
marathon.
call. Yeah, if the
Yes,
marathon was the last piece of the Ironman, you don't want to just put yourself through more torture.
no, not at all.
Crazy, man. Yeah, I don't know if I'll ever do the Ironman, but we'll keep it on the list for now. I definitely wouldn't do
Yeah,
it with no training, but we'll see. Um, so I want to ask you, man, I saw that you just got married, so huge congrats on that. Was that this year
thank you.
or
Yeah,
like
I got married. Oh,
2024,
I
I mean?
know. Yeah, 2024 in October.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I was just going through your blog posts and you had this one about not chasing women, and like how that was important. And you learned that lesson through a couple different experiences in different foreign countries. And
yeah,
then I was also seeing, oh, he got married. Like it must have taken that and really just applied that lesson in his life. So, how's your philosophy changed around that, as you've gone through all these experiences and now, finally found the one?
yeah. I even went on a freaking reality show. That was ridiculous.
No way.
Yeah. Um, I having kids is something that I always knew I wanted. Um, but I still don't want it. But like I do, but I don't. And we're pregnant. We're 2 months pregnant, which
Oh,
is
wow.
awesome. Yeah, so
Oh,
we're
yeah.
freaking what? But as a human, it's like, what else am I doing? And then I got to a point when just like, you know, hanging out with girls and not serious just felt so old, like such a waste of time. Like, and I think this is a little bit of Bitcoin talking because with Bitcoin, It's get rich slow technology, and it really shifts your time frame of like what's important. You start thinking long term with everything because it's like this little piece of Bitcoin that I have to sell to do this experience, or that I have to that this is worth X. Is it worth that, or should I just put that in Bitcoin and have my time saved for later? It really makes you shift everything. And but anyways, it makes me think really long term. It's like if I'm not serious with this person and I don't want to hang out with them forever, what am I doing?
Hmm.
And so yeah, I found a chick, found Laura in Santa Teresa, and it was like game over from the beginning. I was like, this chick, she's got it.
Amazing.
And I want to make this happen. And um yeah, because I had a few years after college where it's just like a little bit of wandering, trying to find a bit of a purpose. I never had a full-time job. Um, Even with a master's degree and everything, I just was like, the one thing I learned from getting my master's degree was that I didn't want to work because it's like your entire life. So I was very specific about what I was doing, and I would only get like contract jobs and a few modeling or acting gigs or whatever. And then right when I found Laura is right when I also got to start working with Saladino. So I was like, oh, I'm not a bum anymore. I have consistent income and I could provide for a girl. And it just felt really good to do that. And yeah, our relationships, we've been everywhere together now. And now we're going on the ultimate journey. And the wedding went through and it was on the beach. It was amazing. Um, and I'm super glad to have someone by my side, man. It's really cool.
Epic.
It's really cool. Would highly recommend.
That's awesome, man.
Yes.
And you found it, it all worked out while you're out in Costa Rica too. It seems like you're not going anywhere at this point now.
Who knows, man? I see people try to plan, and when their plans don't go through, they just get even more stressed. I mean, of course, I kind of have a plan and a vision, but I am open for things to change.
Hmm.
I might have a kid and I might want to be next to family the whole time. I'm pretty terrified of having the kid away from family, to be honest, and I'm really trying to find a cool core group pack of people to travel the world with, if that's what we want to do, or have like a base here in Costa Rica. Figuring it all out, but that's life. And I've also seen people with kids travel around the world and have awesome lives as well. Um, might change a little bit when we get on to kid number 12, but we'll see.
Yeah, might need a bit
Also,
more space.
yeah. Um, Also could be worth mentioning, like, I was out in Greece on a billionaire from Dubai's yacht, random story, um, when we got engaged. And he was the one that gave me the push to do it.
No way.
He was like, if I could go back, I'd just still be with my high school sweetheart. We would have just gotten right into it, just have 25 kids. And and like because without a girl, you're distracted. And it's so obvious to me now. Like if you're not, I mean, I just see girls distract a lot. And I don't think that's a man's highest vision for purpose for maybe not everybody, but it feels so good to have a girl who's my wife now, and now I get to go focus on more important missions.
Hmm.
Um, but it's still a game, man. Like, just because it's set in stone doesn't mean it's set in stone. It's a game that's really worth playing. And
Hmm.
it's insane how much, and I think this is going to keep scaling this way. Like the more responsibility I take on, like now I'm having a kid, I feel like the more it's going to come back to me too. I feel like it works like that. That's my belief. It's been like that before, or it seems like it works like that. I know
Do you
Jordan
mean,
Peterson kind of talks about it too, like the stats of how much more money married men make versus single guys. And I
uh,
think I'm starting to understand that now. Because now I got all this I got to take care of this. I got to work hard and, you know, but still live the most healthy life possible. I got to be smart
right.
with my time and all those things.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. That makes sense to me. I was going to ask if it's kind of because you feel like your back's against the wall a little bit and you kind of need to level up and be the example for your kid in some
Yeah.
ways, which makes you just perform at that higher level,
Yeah.
essentially.
Kind of makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And maybe I look like a bum to some people. Like, so walk around with a girl too is kind of cool.
Yeah. Helps
A
add to the
lot of people,
mystique.
the mystique. Yeah.
Rad, man. Yeah, that's a great story. I've always wanted to do the digital nomad thing and
Mhm.
I've done it. I've dabbled with it. I have a job, thankfully I'm able to work remote. based here in San Diego. So it's like worst comes to worst, I'm stuck in San Diego, boo-hoo. But it's also really nice to be able to experiment, travel abroad. So I've done stints in Mexico City and in Europe as well. Just dabbling though, not fully immersing in the lifestyle. So I'm just curious, how has that been for you, like navigating the foreign country and I don't know, maybe health insurance or bills and whatever else you got to deal with on a daily basis that you kind of take for granted over here in the States. Has that been pretty seamless, or have there been like major issues that you run into?
Um, yeah, it's been pretty seamless for me, but I'm a Bitcoin. I'm pretty attached from the system. I don't know. So those questions aside, like, yeah, living and being working abroad and all that's such a interesting evolution for humans, I think. Like now that we can just work from our computers anywhere in the world, it's obviously changing the game. Um, but what I have realized, I also went to Mexico City for a little bit, um, is that when you return to the same place over and over again, you make more friends. And like all good in life comes from compound interest, like I was saying before, whether that be in like your health, so your daily actions or your relationships, like the people you meet them once, no doors will open, you meet them 100 times, maybe things will happen. So the, the thing I'm skeptical about this digital nomad culture is like when people just go one place for a little bit of time and meet friends for 2 seconds and go everywhere. But don't like get to reap the benefits of the compound interest of when you're staying in one place, which
Hmm.
I now am finally feeling in Costa Rica. I have like two homes here, I feel like, because I have good friends in two different spots. Um, but yeah, that's how I look at digital nomadism. And yeah, maybe I don't really care too much about the health insurance. I have something, but I
Hmm.
might have to start caring about that more. Um, but yeah, dude, it's going to be fascinating seeing how the world shifts with more digital nomads. What keeps bringing you back to California? Like, why don't you just go to Bali and live like a much wealthier life? What's holding you back?
Yeah, no, I mean
Is it
my
the
my
friends?
lady, my lady's out
Oh,
here.
lady.
So
Yeah.
yeah. And yeah, I mean we've been able to do some of these trips together where
Hmm.
she's worked temporarily remote, but she is required to come in. So it's kind of hard for us to both just ditch everything and go abroad. So just dabbled in it.
Yeah.
But I think if worst comes to worst, like let's say my job were to fall apart and everything went to hell in a handbasket, I probably would just convince her to go travel abroad for a bit,
Yeah.
go enjoy, go live the high life over there for a bit. It's crazy. You can live very, very well on not a huge American salary, or even if much, like you could probably take some savings that would take you maybe 3 months in San Diego and go live over there for an entire year.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it'd be
I guess it
pretty
comes
sweet.
back down to that question. It's like, what do you even want to do?
Yeah.
Right.
Right. Right. Yeah. And also like, yeah, giving up the community
Yeah.
here in San Diego. Have a lot of friends from college and people I've met post college that, yeah, it'd be a bummer to not be able to spend time with them. So it's kind of like, you weigh the pros and cons of that. And I totally feel that too with just traveling nomadically post college in Europe and staying at hostels. You meet these people that are incredible people and you have amazing experiences with them. You
Oh
might go
yeah.
out on a pub crawl with a hostel and you meet some amazing people from all over the world. And then just like that, they're gone. You will literally never see them again in your life. And
Yeah.
a lot of these people I've kept up with on social media and stuff, but I'm like, I'm never gonna see this person. Like, whenever I don't know them well enough to actually plan a trip. So,
Yeah.
I mean, on the off chance, maybe they're in San Diego, they'll hit me up, but it's kind of like they're not deep connections, I guess is what I'm getting at.
Exactly. Yeah. So I
Yeah.
kind of got sick of that. And even my first ever surf trip over to Indo is like, I surfed for so long and didn't have any job. And I was like, oh my God, I want to work. So that was a big download in my life too. Like, no, I don't just want to be a perma surfer bum. Like,
Mm.
yeah, you want to give back and you want to work and contribute to everything that's going on as well.
Yeah. So how important would you say it is for a man to have a purpose in life? Or not necessarily a man, but anybody to have a purpose and a vision in their life?
Yeah, it's incredibly important. I think it's everything. It's cool that I feel like for now I've found it. And it's definitely a better place to be. It takes a lot of work, I think. It's
Hmm.
um, but I think it's everything. And even like leading my woman, like um, and she doesn't work. right now. And it's been cool to support her through that. Um, and even just putting like my mission almost in front. I don't know. I was reading this book of have you heard of The Way of the Superior Man?
Yeah. Oh, I just read that actually last
You
month.
did? Oh,
Yeah.
good, man. That's
Yeah.
the best book. It always talks about like putting your mission in front of your woman. And
Yeah.
I kind of thought it was the opposite of that, but that's like the frame I grew up with. Like you need to serve your wife, blah blah blah. And but I realized like she doesn't trust you if you do that. Like if you really put this mission above all else, like she'll want you more.
Right. Right.
So I found that to be true. And yeah, it feels good to wake up and do something that I think is important every day.
hmm Yeah, I echo that totally. I think it's also I think that book talks about how we're like hardwired in certain ways. You know, men are
Yeah,
hardwired to want to strive for more, be on a mission, be on the hunt, and women are more hardwired for that connection and that nourishment kind
yeah.
of mentality. So it's just doing
Especially
what
like a
feels
masculine
natural.
man and a feminine woman, and I'm a masculine guy, she's a feminine woman. So yeah, that
Yeah.
that polarity is everything.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's hard for a lot of people to come to grips with. I mean, when I was younger, that was a tough concept for me to grasp too. Like you need to put that above all else. You need to focus on that and everything else will fall into place. It's like, well, how is that going to work out if I'm ignoring this girl's text or I'm ignoring my friends for the weekend so I can grind on this project? Like, but it does ultimately come back around. You know, people see that you're building something, they get a little more intrigued, they might reach out to you a bit more and things all kind of fall into place in due time.
Yes,
Yeah.
due time.
Yeah. Any other good books you've read recently?
No, but I did just on my honeymoon, I was like, all right, I am not gonna touch the internet. Like I really wanted to try to disconnect because I've been, hadn't really taken much time off for a while, and I read a fiction book and made me not be afraid to be old anymore. I got so lost in this book. It's like the weird is set in like the 12th century. I can't even the Pillars of the Earth. It's about cathedral building.
That's so random.
I know, it's so random. And now I'm like excited to be old, so I can just read books all day and sit on the beach and watch my grandkids play.
That doesn't sound half bad, man. Does
No,
not
not at
sound bad
all.
at all. Nice.
Yeah.
Where'd you guys go for your honeymoon?
We went to Puerto Escondido in Mexico.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, have you
That's on
been?
the list. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I haven't been. Haven't been. Do you go for the waves?
Yes.
Nice.
That's the other thing with those freaking waves and in life in general, like things just get boring unless you're pushing the limit.
It's true.
Either that, it's like you either stay like Peterson again says, like you need to stay in life, you need to stay on the border of chaos and order. That's where meaning's found. And
Ooh.
it's just like with the whole surfing thing, it makes so much sense. Like I go to Puerto Escondido and I'm scared every morning to try to get barreled. Um, but then you come back and you have the biggest smile on your face. You feel like a champion. And so in life, like um, I kind of use that fear. Like if I'm a little bit afraid of that, that's something I got to go towards as like a compass. If I'm getting
Mm,
too comfortable, probably not on the right path.
right. Yeah, it
Yeah.
seems to tie back into what you were talking about earlier with the random marathons and Ironmans, Like
Hmm.
maybe that was a point where you're reaching like stagnation or something and you're like, damn, I haven't done anything crazy in a while. I need to go find that edge again.
Oh, it's so annoying. It's so annoying. But yeah,
Yeah.
exactly
Yeah,
it.
that's rad.
Yeah.
Man, I'm inspired to go do some crazy shit right now, actually.
Let's go.
Yeah, I'm training for a marathon at the moment and
You are?
yeah,
Nice.
yeah, yeah. I'm trying to get like a certain time and stuff and it'll be interesting to see if I can pull it off, but it'll be a good triumphant moment hopefully if I can come back from lung surgery and run the marathon or
Oh,
whatever.
that's cool.
Yeah, so
That's a cool story.
yeah.
And you have to do cool stuff. Like when you document it and people want to know like more about it, like
Yeah.
it all works for you too.
Yeah. Yeah. Trying to tell a compelling story and not do it
Yeah.
just to tell the story, but do it because it's an epic story. I'm trying to write an epic story.
Yeah. That's amazing. You
Cool,
gonna write a
man.
book too?
We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
I do love writing. Writing is definitely something I enjoy. So we'll see
Do
at
you
some
do it
point.
every day?
I do, yeah.
When?
Usually in the morning,
Yeah.
usually right after I wake up, try and go for a walk and then just journal a bit. It's hard to maintain it every day though. I feel like I don't have that much thought, but There's always something you can pull out, right?
There's always something. And yeah, it's just kind of good to just brain vomit in the morning. You might run upon a nug or, learn something about yourself when you write.
Uh-huh.
That's a habit I want to get back into.
Nice. Nice. So what other optimal habits are you doing or they have been interesting to you lately?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think the food thing's kind of simple. I
Hmm.
was in that world for a couple of years, just, where they're always talking about, I used to work for Paul Saladino. So like I did his content. So I just have his whole brain like memorized. I've seen all this stuff, whatever. And I think it's pretty simple. You just eat real food, especially if it's grown local to you and more organic, the better.
Hmm.
So of course I always have that frame, like, is this real food or is this some processed thing? Does it need an ingredient label? Um, but the more recent rabbit hole, and not even rabbit hole, but just, if you look at life like you're a monkey, how does a monkey live? Are you an animal or are you a robot? So a lot of life just trying to pull us into being robots right now. But I kind of refuse that, and you have to be pretty um, intentional about the way you live so you can become a monkey again. So monkeys are outside all the time. They see every sunrise and sunset. Turns out that those frequencies of light are incredibly like beneficial for you, and they give you valuable information in the morning and at night. And
Hmm.
so living a circadian friendly life is, maybe even more important than food. Um, and you can overcomplicate it and really study everything, but if you just look at it from the frame like you're an animal, of course it's healthy, you know?
Hmm.
Um, and the shirt I'm wearing, this Daylight, I was helping them out. Have you heard of them?
I haven't, no.
So it's called the Daylight Computer. It's my other obsession. Like I'm working on a social media, and um but in order to view that social media, I want you to view it on like a Daylight computer, which a Daylight computer is basically a Kindle, but it has the full functionality of an iPad. What's special about a Kindle? It reflects light instead of emits light. So you're looking at a thing that's reflecting light, like just like any other object, unlike this computer screen right now that's emitting light. So it's way better on your eyes, and it's not as stimulating because there's no colors. And I think it's like the ultimate way to use a computer. It makes it a tool again. Right now, with all the colors and beeps and sounds and notifications, like computers have become just like this dopamine slot machine.
Yeah.
And instead of just this cool tool to advance humanity. So like, Steve Jobs wouldn't even give his kids iPads till they're 16. But then you look at TikTok, you look at Instagram on this Daylight computer, and partly because it's all black and white by default, that it's just like, what is going? I don't care about this. And the fact that it's, using natural light to power the screen is amazing. And then in the mornings or when there's not good light, there's a backlight that has no blue light. And it's like similar, the spectrum of light is similar to a campfire. And it's also not flickering. So normal screens also flicker on and off really fast. And your eyes can't see it, but your brain can. And that's probably what's contributing to a lot of the increased myopia rates and a lot of the, you look at a screen for too long, you already know probably. You just like feel like shit.
Yeah.
It's probably contributing to that feeling. Whereas the
Mm.
daylight's just, reflecting light or not, then it doesn't have any blue light at night, so it's not as stimulating that way as well. So I think those two pieces, like that's like I forget what the question was, but having a healthier computer actually fixes like the root cause of a lot of our issues, in my
Mm.
opinion.
Right.
Because these things are always they're constantly taking us inside, so you can see the screen, so you can get your work done through there. Um, and they constantly have us like this because they're so damn stimulating.
Right.
So I think the daylight is kind of the perfect middle ground to like make computers a tool again,
Yeah.
make
Seems
the
like it's
monkey a
getting it.
monkey again.
Yeah, it's like getting at the root cause of the issue instead of like, oh, here's a health hack to help you have energy in the afternoon. It's like, well,
Yeah,
what if you just had a more natural sleep pattern and
yeah,
you got 8 hours
exactly.
every day, you woke up without an alarm, you wouldn't need all
Yes.
this extra BS that, all these biohacks that are thrown on top of like the foundation of health, right?
Oh, the biohacking industry is a bit cringe to me. I went to a couple of conferences with daylight, and you're just seeing all this stuff. It's like, dude, just get back to nature.
Yeah.
Everybody just wants to hack it, and they'll pay so much money to maybe have this thing that might or might not work. It's like, just go sit under a tree, man.
Yeah.
And it's cool. The sit under the tree science is increasing. I'm not good at like, you know, saying, but people are studying like just touching the earth with your bare feet is just like a health hack. Like,
Yeah.
and how often do normies do that anymore? They don't.
Hmm.
Yeah. So that's why I like being in the jungle so much. Like I don't ever, why am I wearing a shirt now? I don't know, but never have to wear shoes. It's probably why I ended and felt like I found community down here is just this huge wall of like when you meet someone down here, there's no what shoes are you wearing? What brand is that purse? Like it's just human to human, and it feels like more natural down here. But
That's great.
yeah,
That's
I
awesome, man.
also should be better at fitting in cities as well. So that's my wife's mission to make me yeah, so I don't embarrass her.
I'm sure you guys will meet in the middle somewhere.
Yeah, yeah.
Right on, man. Hey, well, I thought this was an awesome conversation. I really appreciate you coming on and sharing your insights, sharing your story, talking about the projects you've been working on. And before we wrap up, we're almost at an hour here. So I just want to put it in your court and see if there's anything you want to share with the listeners, maybe where they could find you or upcoming projects, anything exciting on the horizon for you.
Yeah, find me at primal.net/Paul. Say, hi, I'm from Danny's podcast, and I'll zap you some sats. So I'll give you some Bitcoin. I forget whatever else you said, but yeah, take your time, study Bitcoin,
Nice. Sweet,
ignore the
man.
rest. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Enjoy the ride.
yeah,
Cool. Well, again, appreciate your time. I'll let you get back to it over there. Hopefully you can catch some good waves or what have you in the afternoon today.
hopefully.
Yeah. All right, man. Appreciate you.
Cool.
Talk
Thanks, Danny.
soon.